of the most common and stressful questions that I hear from homeowners in Central Arkansas is this. Should I buy my next home before I sell our current one? And if you're asking that question, it typically means that you're not just browsing or out there kicking tires. You're seriously thinking about making a move. So the answer is, well, it just depends, but not in a vague way. There actually is a really smart strategy that's based on your specific situation, your finances, and our really hyper local market, meaning your neighborhood. So today, I kind of want to walk you through how to think about this decision very clearly so that you can avoid the stress, avoid costly mistakes, and really make a confident choice in what's best for your family. So why is this such an important decision? Well, the question matters because it truly impacts everything. It impacts your finances, your level of stress throughout the process, your negotiation power within the new home and within selling your current one, right? You impact your timeline. How fast or slow is this process going to move? And how soon do you need to be in that new house? And sometimes it actually makes a difference as to whether a move is really even possible. So I've worked with clients who have done both. They've bought first and felt great about it. And I've worked with clients who did the same thing and ended up really completely overwhelmed. So it's very specific to you individually. And the difference wasn't luck. The difference was having a very detailed plan about how the process was going to work with that particular property. So there's pros and cons or risks, if you will, about both. So let's talk about if you were to buy first. So some people prefer this because they don't want to feel rushed. They don't want to feel the pressure of having to find that next house, and they want time to find what's truly the right home. They don't want to feel pressure to accept a week off or just to make the timing part work. And sometimes that actually makes sense. But here's the risk that most people don't think through probably carefully enough or examine this part enough. Can you financially carry two properties, two homes temporarily? It's not forever, right? But there is a temporary time when you'll need to do that. And will your lender approve you while still holding your current mortgage? That's typically the very first conversation. So what happens if your current home takes a little longer to sell than what you have expected? It takes 60 days instead of 30. This is why the decision should never, ever, ever be made without a coordinated plan between you, your agent, and your lender. All three people need to be working together to make this decision. Now, selling first is often the much safer financial path. And when you decide to sell first, you know exactly how much equity you'll have to spend on the new house, what your true budget is when you only own that one property, what you're comfortable spending really can limit what your possibilities are. You avoid the risk of having double payments or unnecessary financial stress that may come with carrying two properties. The challenge that comes with this option, of course, is the timing. Sellers worry about being stuck without a home, moving twice, or feeling rushed to buy something that they just don't love. And that's where the strategy comes into play, that you're going to work with you and your agent and your lender to create this strategy. Because the thing that most people don't realize is there's really more than just those two options. Most people think they only have two choices, to either buy first or to sell first. But in reality, there's really more times than not several strategic options that are available, just depending on your very personal situation. So there are things like contingency plans or contingencies on the sale of your home. There are lease-back agreements if you sell and you need to rent your house back from the new owner. There are extended closings. There are coordinated timing between the transactions. There are negotiated possession terms. Who can take possession of what property and when, and we can negotiate those terms. And these are all tools that I use regularly with my clients to help them move without the chaos. But they only work, again, when there's a plan from the beginning. It's why that planning and strategy session with your agent before moving forward with either plan is just so important. And that decision also depends heavily on our local market here in Central Arkansas, not the entire area, but in niche markets. The competition in Maumelle looks different than West Little Rock. Price range behaves very differently than others, and even in specific neighborhoods in those certain sections. So in some segments of our market, buying first might be extremely reasonable because we know what's going to happen on the back end. In others, it can be a little bit more risky. And that's why just reading some general advice or a general article about the county or the state or the region really just doesn't work very well, because this plan has to be tailored to your home, your price range, your goals, your neighborhood. And when I tell my clients is this, there's no universal right answer. There's no right answer for everyone, but there is a right answer for you. And when you understand the full picture, making that decision just becomes that much easier. So that picture that we're talking about includes your home's likely value at the end of the process, what it's actually going to sell for. Your loan options that are tailored specifically to you and your family from your lender. Your timeline. What are your needs in terms of timing to get moved to the new property and sell the other one? And what is your risk comfort level? Some people have a much greater risk tolerance than others. And your particular neighborhood market segment. And my role is to help you see all of those things clearly before you make the decision. Again, why those planning strategies are so important to the decision-making process. So if you're asking yourself whether you should buy before you sell, it's probably a sign that you're closer to making a move than even you may realize at this point in time. You don't have to figure this out on your own. A short strategy conversation can often really bring some immediate clarity on some key points and save you from some really expensive mistakes. So if you are here in our Central Arkansas market area and thinking about making a move, I'd be happy to help you talk through all of your options and build a plan that actually works for your situation and your family. You can find more information over at our website at ar-property.com. And when you're ready, reach out directly either through the site or contact me directly either on socials or via phone. And if you found this helpful, make sure to subscribe here on YouTube. I regularly share real practical guidance for buyers and sellers right here in our local market.